Let me now call upon Mr. Paulo Casaca, is former European Union Parliament member from Belgium. Mr. Casaca.
An outstanding conference, and not forgetting, of course, the Walton company that, with its sponsorship, made it possible. I would like to say that in terms of principle and in terms of the main general messages, I was so fortunate as having heard already everything that I think it's necessary to be considered. Because in the morning we had outstanding interventions on the main principles that are guiding international relations, on the main concepts, either by Ambassador Chaudhry, and I'm very sorry for any mispronunciation. I think Hussein, I think it's easier than, for me at least, than Chaudhry. Chief of Justice Muhammad Kaman, I think that your name is very well known, not only here in Bangladesh, but elsewhere. This is perhaps a bit easier to pronounce. And last but not least, Dr. Imtiaz Hamid, because I really appreciate it enormously. Hopefully I do not too much assassinate your language, your name. Because I really appreciated hearing your quotation of Mahatma Gandhi was fantastic. It is. I could not agree more with you. I do think that European Union is an idea, as well as South Asia is an idea. Therefore, as some questions were raised, in particular to the relations to the European Union by some of the dignitaries of the member states of SARC, but as they are not present, I would not comment them in public, and I would go directly to the subject. Well, first, let me explain that I am what I could call a Schengen Belgian, because I'm not from Belgium, not at all. I actually, as was just mentioned a while ago, I represented in the European Parliament the very small island region, the Azores, from Portugal, and I am Portuguese, and I am in Belgium simply because actually we have Schengen, and so I can be, I am located in Belgium today, as I might be coming tomorrow in Romania or in any other country. My country of origin is actually Portugal. I feel and I am here as basically as a European representative of South Asia Democratic Forum. This is an initiative that took place last year, actually in Brussels. And the main idea that lies on the back of the South Asia Democratic Forum is exactly that the European Union did not yet quite understand the importance of South Asia as, if you want, as a regional reality, but of SARC as a promise to the future. We, in the European Union, I think that people obviously are getting to terms with the reality, with the geopolitical reality and the geoeconomic reality that is very far from the one that was imagined just 10 years ago. We do not have to go any further. Actually, the paper I presented, I float a bit on history, and I mark some points that are important to bear in mind, I think, that when this globalization started, and I think it started in the 15th, 16th century, not the internet, of course, is a new age, a new development within this globalization, but I think it started many centuries ago. The main aim of the European discoverers, or the European that became the European colonizers, was actually to get to Asia richness. It was not really to look for America, this view of the world is flat, that is very much propagated in the United States. It's completely absurd. I mean, everybody knew that the world was spheric. Nobody doubted about that. There were only some superstitions that were were propagated for several reasons. It's never very much important. What I think is important is that Europeans got to Asia because of the richness of Asia, because Asia was the most developed part of the world in terms of industry, in terms of whatever you want. Of course, spices was a particular item that was looked for here in Asia. And so, well, 5 centuries is a very long time. A lot of things happened, and what we are witnessing, I think it is the new re-emerging of a geopolitical and geoeconomic situation that was the one that we had already 5 or 6 centuries ago. And in Europe, people obviously understood, nobody now is able to ignore the power and relevance of China, but I do not think that the issue of South Asia has been really understood. South Asia is, of course, we cannot forget that, is, well, the biggest region in the world, but is also the region that has, in terms of absolute poverty, the biggest number of poor people in the world, more than Africa, for instance. But it is a region that is developing fast and that is constituting a new center for development, and I believe as well for all of the values of the civilization that was spoken a while ago. And what can be said, what do I think is very important from the European Union experience is that Europeans took some centuries, and especially from the 17th up to the 20th century, they took a lot of centuries trying to impose their own religious points of view to their neighbors, their nationalities to their neighbors, and the result from this point of view was not very glorious. Was actually war, destruction, almost annihilation, to the point where, after the Second World War, the founding fathers of Europe, the main reason why the European was created was a conscience that this could not go anymore, and that the only way for Europe to survive was to get to terms with itself. And the project of Europe is a project for peace and prosperity and understanding. This is the very first thing that we ought to take in consideration regarding the European Union. And it's true that a lot of drawbacks took place and are taking place in this construction process, but the European Union has been a model and an inspiration all over the world for regional integration. And I believe as well in some. And this first element is absolutely fundamental. The second element is an element of going to the concrete issues, not to the controversial, emotional ones. So the first community that was created, it was created in the 9th of May. Well, the official date of creation is 1 year afterwards, but it is the speech of Robert Schuman, the Foreign Affairs Minister of France, in the 9th of May in 1950, that normally is seen as the starting point of the European Union. And what did he announce? He announced a community for coal and steel. Well, coal and steel were at the time, the basics of the European economy. And he did not address, just to give you an example, that's the example I take in the paper. There was, the borders were far from being defined between the major two contenders of the Second World War, Germany and France. A whole region, Saarbrücken, for instance, was claimed by France, that was occupied by France. And actually this issue was sorted out in years afterwards, in '56, by a referendum, no big emotional thing, and people just decided to remain in Germany. They voted that way, and this was done, and the military occupation was gone. And so it went very smoothly. Actually, you will not see it in any history book history, because it was not very relevant. Because the fundamental thing was that a procedure of understanding was taking place. And this second element is very important. And the third one is small steps. I mean, do not start by really wanting the moon or wanting everything, because it will not happen. I think that small steps are fundamental. And this is what I think is the core of the method that achieved a lot in Europe. Of course, we did go sometimes we went forward, some other times we went back. Now I think that we are experiencing a very difficult period. Obviously, the common currency and the common foreign policy that we decided are more difficult to put in place and have consequences that had not been completely understood from the outset, and this is creating a problem. But anyway, I think that this experience is fundamental, and the only thing I can tell you is that what I heard from you is very encouraging. I think that your idea in South Asia